Welcome to the course for learning the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript by creating a content project. My name is Sahand, and I'm a web developer with over 15 years of programming experience. I created this basic course to share my experience with you. This course is made to help you get familiar with the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. By the end of this course, you'll be able to write the basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript codes and build a simple but practical website which let the users count up and down. This course starts with a direct and simple guide on how to install the VScode and its essential extensions. Then we write the HTML parts. Once you finish the basic HTML, you'll then begin to work on the CSS and learn how to make a simple Bootstrap button. This project will teach you many skills, like how to use Bootstrap and Font Awesome, as well as some essential JavaScript methods like add event listener and style, which are being used in most websites. It is completely fine if you have no prior knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. A summary of basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is provided in this course. This is a short course that will teach you about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript while building a simple but practical website. If you're excited as I am to learn about the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and build an amazing website, then let's get started. Alright, let's start creating our project. First, we open the VScode. We close the Welcome tab. In the View menu, we click on Explorer, and here we open a folder. We choose the desktop, and we create new folder. We name the folder Content Project. And we select the folder. We close the Welcome tab again, and here in the left, we create a new file. We right-click, select New File, and we call the file index.html. Here we can use an exclamation mark to have a HTML boilerplate. So we write an exclamation mark and we click on the first auto-suggestion. We change the title tags to Content Project. The title tag defines the title of the document. The title must be text only and it is shown in the browser title bar or in the Pages tab. The title tag is mandatory in HTML documents. The context of the page title is very important for search engine optimization, or SEO for short. The page title is used by search engine algorithms to decide the order when listing pages in search results. In the body tag, we create a main tag. And inside the main tag, we add a div tag. Inside the div, we add a h1 tag and we write Content Project. We save the file using Ctrl S, and in order to check it in the browser, we just need to go to the desktop. We open the folder that we have created and we click on index.html. As you can see, now we have injected Content Project tag in the browser. Let's go back to the VScode to continue our coding. Let's add a span here. We put the value 0. We are going to change this 0 using JavaScript later. After this span, we add a div. And we put all the buttons, including increase, decrease, and reset buttons inside this div. We add our first button. We just write decrease. We copy this 2 times using Alt-Shift down arrow We change this to reset and this one to increase. We save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page. As you can see, we have the H1 and the 3 buttons. Okay, that was it for the HTML part. In the next section, we are going to start styling our website. So see you in the next section. Alright, in the last section, we have created the HTML parts. In this section, we are going to start styling our project. Let's go back to the VScode. When a browser reads a style sheet, it will format the HTML document according to the information in the style sheet. There are 3 ways of inserting a style sheet: external CSS, internal CSS, and inline CSS. With an external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. Let's create our style sheet. Here in the left, we right-click and click on New File. We call the file styles.css. Each HTML page must include a reference to the external style sheet file inside a link element inside the head section. So let's go back to the index.html. In the head tag, just below the title, we use the link tag, and in href, we write styles.css. Because the 2 files are at the same directory, we just need to add the name of the styles.css. So we save the file. We just add a class here called value. We save the file again and we go to styles.css. First we style the body. We just write body, open a set of curly braces, and inside the set of curly braces, we add margin 0, padding 0. We added the margin 0 and the padding 0 to remove the default margin and padding. We change the font family to be sans serif, and we add the text align center to bring everything to the center of the page. We save the file and check the browser. We refresh the page. As you can see, now everything is in the middle of the page. Let's go back to the VS Code. Let's change the font size of the H1. So we write H1, open a set of curly braces. We write font size for rem, and also we change the value, which was the class we defined here. We open a set of curly braces and we change the font size to be 6 rem. We save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page. As you can see, now we have bigger H1 and the number. In the next section, we are going to style the buttons. We are going to use Bootstrap to easily style the buttons. So see you in the next section. Alright, in the last section, we have styled the H1 and the number. In this section, we are going to style the buttons. We are going to use something called Bootstrap to style the buttons easily. Let's search Bootstrap. We click on getbootstrap.com. We scroll down a little bit and we click on Get Started. If you scroll down again, here you can see the style sheet link, which we can add to the head section so we can use the Bootstrap externally. So we copy this, we go back to the VS Code, we go to index.html, and above the style.css, we paste the link. In order to style our buttons, we just need to add the Bootstrap classes. So here in the button section, we add a class. First we call it btn and then btn danger. We save the file, we check the browser, we close this tab, we refresh this page. As you can see, now we have a beautiful button with red color. We want this reset button to be gray, so we add a btn secondary class. So let's go back to the VScode. Here in the reset button, we add a class. We call it btn secondary. We save the file, we check the browser. As we refresh the page, you can see now we have a beautiful button here as well. Let's make this button green by adding btn success class. Let's go back to the VScode. Here in the increase, which are right wrong. So we will add this class here. We call it btn success. We save the file and we check the browser. We refresh the page. As you can see, now we have 3 buttons styled by Bootstrap. The things I would like to do, instead of having decrease or increase word, I would like to substitute them with plus and minus sign. We are going to add the plus and the minus symbol using Font Awesome. So in the next section, we are going to learn how to use the Font Awesome. So see you in the next section. Alright, in the last section, we have added the styles to the buttons using Bootstrap. In this section, we are going to learn how to use Font Awesome and import the symbols like plus and minus symbols to our project. First, let's search Font Awesome. And we click here on the D icons. If you scroll down a little bit, now here we can search for any icons we want. For example, if you search plus, as you can see, there are plenty of plus signs here. For example, plus, plus circle, plus square, or Google Plus officials. We just need to click on the icon we want. For example, this plus. We scroll down a little bit and we copy this code. The code is only an I tag with classes FA and FA+. We copy the code, we go back to the VScode, and we change this increase, we delete it, we press enter to open the tag, and we paste here the Font Awesome icon. In order the Font Awesome to work properly, similar to the Bootstrap that we brought in the Bootstrap CDN, we just need to bring the Font Awesome CDN as well. So let's go back to the browser. If you want to get the CDN from fontawesome.com, first you need to sign up in the website. But we can find the CDN somewhere else as well. So we search here, CDN JS. If you scroll down a little bit, we click on cdnjs.com and we can search for any CDNs we want. We search here Font Awesome. We click here on Font Awesome. We scroll down a little bit and we click here to copy the link tag. We go back to the VS Code. Just under the Bootstrap CDN, we paste the Font Awesome CDN. We save the file. We check the browser. We close this tab and we go to our website. We refresh the page. As you can see, now we have the plus sign instead of having the word increase. We can do this similarly to decrease one as well. So let's go to the Font Awesome website again. We go back and here we search for the minus sign. We click on the minus. We scroll down a little bit and we copy the code. We go to the VScode, and here we delete the decrease and we paste the font awesome code. We save the file, we check the browser, we go to our website and refresh the page. As you can see, now we have the minus sign as well. Okay, that was it for our styling our website. In the next section, we're going to start using JavaScript in our website. Alright, in the last section, we have finished using Font Awesome in our project. In this section, we're going to start using JavaScript in our project. Let's go back to the VS Code and let's create a JavaScript file. Here we right-click, we click on New File, we call the file index.js. Let's go to index.html. Right at the bottom of the body tag, just after main tag, we add a script tag. We click on the second auto suggestion, and in the source attribute, we write index.js. The script tag is used to embed a JavaScript file. The script element either contains a scripting as. Let's save the file and we go to index.js. First, we need to create a variable for our number. We use let and we write num, and first we equal it to 0. The reason we are using let instead of const is because the num variable is going to change by tapping on the increase, reset, and decrease buttons. The next thing we need to do, if you check the index.html, we need to tap to the element value inside index.js using query selector. The query selector method returns the first element that matches the specified CSS selectors. Please note that the query selector only returns the first element that matches the specified selectors. To return all the matches, we can use query selector all method instead. So let's go to index.js and we make a const here. We call the const value and we write document dot query selector. We open a set of parentheses and inside a double quote we write dot value. This dot value is coming from here, this class. We also need to make another const for all the buttons. So we write const. We call this const btns, which stands for all the buttons, equal document dot query selector. We open a set of parentheses and inside a double quote again, we write dot btns. In this way, we're going to tap to all the buttons because all the buttons has the class btn. If we go back to the index.js, here we have a typo. We change it to equal. We save the file. And if we console log btns, we save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page, and we open the web developer tools using Ctrl+Shift+C, and we go to console. As you can see, we only return a button, which is the first button. In order to have all the buttons here, we just need to, instead of using query selector, we use query selector all. So let's go back to the VS Code. We change this query selector to query selector all. We save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page. As you can see, now we have a node list with all the buttons. Actually, the query selector all method returns all the elements in the document that matches a specified CSS selectors and return it as a static node list object. The node list object represents a collection of nodes, and the nodes can be accessed by index numbers, and the index starts with 0. We can loop through the buttons in this node list using for each method. So let's go back to the VS Code. We delete this console log and we write btns dot for each. We open a set of parentheses and we write an arrow function here. So we open a set of parentheses again, write a fat arrow, and we open a set of curly braces. Inside this set of parentheses, we can have access to all the btns. We write here btn, and if we console log the btn, we save the file, we check the browser, and we refresh the page. As you can see, now we have all the buttons separately. We just need to add the addEventListener method to check if the user clicks on the buttons. The EventListener method attaches an event handler to the document. Let's go back to the VS Code. So we delete this console log and we add the addEventListener method to all the buttons. We're going to do this in the next section. So see you in the next section. Alright, in the last section, we have looped through the btns, which are all the buttons. In this section, we are going to add the addEventListener method to all the buttons. So we write btn dot addEventListener. We open a set of parentheses. Inside the double quote, we write click, which means if someone clicks on the button, it's going to trigger a function. So we add the function here. We open a set of parentheses and we write a fat arrow and we open a set of curly braces and we write our function here. We can get the events here by writing event. For example, if you log event dot current target, we fix this one and add the T at the end. If we save the file, we check the browser and we refresh the page. If we click on any button, for example this one, as you can see, we got the corresponding button here, which is btn success. If we go back to the VS Code, if we add a class list here, we save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page, and we click on the plus button again. As you can see, now we have an array with btn and btn success element. We go back to the VS Code, we copy this, and we delete the console log. We create a cons here. We call the cons styles equals, and we paste the event. Now we add an if statement here. We write if, we open a set of parentheses. We write a styles dot contains. The contains method checks whether a string contains a sequence of characters and returns true if the characters exist. So we write btn danger. We open a set of curly braces here and we write num minus minus, which means if someone clicks on btn danger button, this num variable will be decreased. We add an else if here. We open a set of parentheses. Again, we write styles dot contains, but this time we write btn success. We open a set of curly braces and we write num plus plus. We add an else here. We open a set of curly braces and we just say num equals 0. We save the file and we update this value here. So we write value dot text content equals num. The text content property sets or returns the text content of the specified node. This property is similar to the inner text property, however there are some differences. Text content returns the text content of all the elements, while inner text returns the content of all the elements. We save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page. If we click on the plus button, we can increase the value of the number. If we click on the minus button, we decrease the value of the number. And if we press on reset, we set the value to 0. In the next section, we are going to change the color of this number when the user clicks on the buttons. So see you in the next section. Alright, in the last section, we have implemented the JavaScript to our project. In this section, we are going to add colors to the number when the number is more than 0 or below 0. Let's go back to the VScode. Just below this, we add an if statement. We write if, we open a set of parentheses, and we write num greater than 0. We open a set of curly braces, and we change the style of the value. We write value dot style dot color, and we set the color to green. So we write green here. We save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page. If we press on the green button, as you can see, the color of the number has been changed to green. Let's go back to the VScode. We add an else if here. We open a set of parentheses. We write num less than 0. We open a set of curly braces and we write value dot style dot color equals red. We save the file, we check the browser, we refresh the page. If we press the red button, the color would be red. And if we click on the green button again, it would be green. Let's reset the counter. As you can see, the 0 is green as well. So we need to add an else here as well. So we go back to the VScode. We add an else here. We open a curly braces and set the value dot style dot color to black. We save the file. We check the browser. We refresh the page. We test it again. As you can see, now the 0 is black. That was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned new things. Please let me know your opinion about the course and wait for the updates. I'm going to add more projects to the course later. Thanks again and see you next time.